Okay, the eye roll emoji face pieces. We'll start with the eyes. We're going to make 2 white circles and 2 black circles. This is what it's going to look like. And in case I forget to remind you, we want to leave a really long tail at the end for stitching to the base. So I'm taking my white. I'm going to do a magic circle. And in this magic circle, we're going to do 6 single crochets. We'll pull this tail, make the circle tight. My little beginning stitch was a little loose there. That's okay. All right, let's slip stitch into the first single. And we'll chain 1. Now here's where I highly recommend, even if you're experienced, just do this. Use a stitch marker to keep your place. Instead of a traditional stitch marker, I just use another color piece of yarn. And for row 2, we're going to do 2 singles in each stitch, starting with the one we just slip stitched into. All right, there's 2. All right, so the second row is 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So the other reason why I say use a stitch marker or a place marker of some sort is when you come around, sometimes it looks like this here is a stitch, but that's where we joined the row 1, the slip stitch into that, and this is our chain 1. So this really helps you see where you left off and where you should go into. So we're going to do a slip stitch after row 2, slip stitch into that first single crochet and chain 1 to start row 3. Pull that out, put it up here. Now row 3, we're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch. And then the next stitch we're going to do 1. The next stitch 2. The next stitch 1. And that is our repeat all the way around. So this row will be 18 because we added 6 stitches. All right, and again, we will slip stitch into the first stitch. Chain 1. Let's move our string. So row 4, we're going to do 2 singles in this very first stitch. One single in the next, one single in the next, 2, two in that third stitch, fourth stitch, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. That is your repeat all the way around. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24 is your count for row 4. Slip stitch into the first single, chain 1. Let's move this marker. Okay, row 5. Okay, typically your circle, so what we've done so far is the typical way to make a circle. I do things a little differently. I change it up for the reason, if I keep doing 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, you're going to get a hexagon type of a shape. I want a circle. So what I'm going to do, typically, this is what row 5 we're on, we'd do 2 singles in the same stitch, and then we'd do single, single, single. And that would be your repeat. I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to do, we chained 1 already, I'm going to do a single, 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 and in the next stitch 2. Single, 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 2. So that is your repeat all the way around for this row. And the last one is 2. Like the others, slip stitch into the first single crochet, chain 1, all right, row 6, we're going to go back to the traditional. Row 6 will be 2 singles in the first stitch, and then 4 single crochets in the next, well, 1 in each of the next stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Do 2 singles, then 1 in each of the next 4, and that is your repeat all the way around. Okay, we should have counted our last row. Row 5 would have been 30 stitches. Row 6 is 36. You can kind of tell though, you know, if I did my 2, 1, 1, 1, if you end in the right pattern, most likely you got the whole row right. All right, row 7, after we slip stitch here, slip stitch, chain 1, okay, row 7 I'm going to do an opposite again. So instead of starting with 2 singles in the first stitch, I'm going to do 1 single crochet 5 times, then 2 singles. So going into the very same stitch, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 singles. And that's your repeat around. I think I'm making things a little tight here. All right, row 7 is completed with 42 stitches. So go ahead and slip stitch into that first stitch. You can tie off. Remember, cut a long string. And there's eye number 2. Now for your eyeball, really all you're doing is the same thing as the white. Do your magic circle, 6 single crochet, and round 2, 2 singles in each stitch. So it's just 2 rows, total of 12 stitches at the end of row 2. Okay, that worked up pretty quick. That one looks a little more round than that one. I think that's the way I've already sewn this in. Maybe I'll redo it. I think I pulled a little too tight there. All right, moving on to the mouth. Get a slip knot on your hook. Chain 10. We'll do a single crochet into the second chain from the hook. And it looks like we're going to do a single crochet in each chain across. All right, so that means 10 stitches. Cut that, tie off, leave a little tail for that one too, for sewing in. You know, I have an idea. The picture has a little more definition to it. I just might. What about a gray slip stitch around the eye for some definition? Because this is just too easy. All right, let me go get some gray. All right, I did one. I think I like it. So take your white eye, and I'm just grabbing a loop through one of the stitches. Go into the next stitch, the full stitch, yarn over, pull through, pull through. That's a slip stitch. So do that all the way around. And then I'll show you how I made it a seamless connect. All right, I'll meet you around. Okay, go into that last stitch, or kind of the first one where we started. Slip stitch in there, and then you can cut your string, just pull this through, and then go into the first stitch here from the back. Grab the yarn, pull it through, and that'll be a seamless connect. You can just tie those together. You're gonna weave it in the back and hide it anyways. So let's see. I like it. All right, I hope you like the way yours came out too.